So if I ask you to close your eyes and imagine your future, what would you see? When I was in 5th grade and I closed my eyes and I imagined what I was going to be, I imagined I was going to be an elementary school principal. And that's all I ever imagined. For the next 40 years after 5th grade, I imagined myself as an elementary school principal. And I did that for the better part of my professional career. Then came the year 2003. I retired as an elementary school principal. I then closed my eyes, and what I saw was living happily ever after on the little 12-acre farm that my wife and I owned, helping her go off to work every day, seeing my children get married and having grandchildren. That is exactly what I saw for myself when I closed my eyes and imagined my future. I never imagined, I never dreamed that I would get a doctorate. I never imagined that I would ever work at Asbury. I never imagined that I would become a school superintendent. Things ultimately turned out very differently than that picture I saw when I imagined my future. You know, the same is true for Jesus. His life turned out very differently than most people who walked and talked and ate with him believed that it would. In John 6:14, it says, when the people saw the sign he had done, they said, "This is truly the prophet, the one who has come into the world." Since Jesus knew that they were going to come and carry him off to make him a king, because that's what they imagined, he would be the conquering king, he withdrew and went into the mountain above. The early stages of his ministry had promised much, and many people were attracted to follow him. And they wondered where he might go and what he might do. But they did believe, they did imagine that he was going to be the conquering king that helped them destroy the Romans who had been so oppressing to them. Many of them were disappointed that he made no attempt to gather an army, and he renounced the use of violence. He resisted every attempt to be the king that they wanted him to be. He headed resolutely to Jerusalem, not to launch a rebellion that they had imagined that they wanted, but to submit willingly to the death on a cross. The fate of failed revolutionaries, he entered Jerusalem as if he were the coming king, but then demanded that the people submit to the authority of Caesar as well as that of God. He told Pilate that his kingdom was not of this world. And when he was crucified, he appeared pathetically unable to save even himself, let alone all the others that were witnessing this. When you close your eyes this Easter and you imagine your future and you imagine what God can do with you during this special time of the Christian year, what do you see? How open are you to abandoning the plans that you have, the vision that you have, for the ones that Jesus Christ has for you? What do you imagine doing in 1 year, 5 years, the rest of your life? How willing are you to give all of that up and adopt the perfect plan that the risen Christ has for your life? Let's you and I agree together that when we close our eyes this Easter, we don't have any preconceived notion about what we're going to see our future. And we are not going to limit what Christ can or cannot do in our lives this Easter and beyond.